Man saves crying wolf cub and its dying mother. What happened next was incredible. When a man stumbled upon a crying wolf cub and its dying mother, he couldn't walk away. Determined to help, he stepped into their world of survival and desperation. What unfolded next was an incredible story of courage, compassion, and the unbreakable bond between humans and wildlife. One morning, while walking through the forest near his cabin, Aaron suddenly heard a heart-wrenching howl from a nearby wolf. Alarmed, he dropped his gear and carefully made his way toward the sound, pushing through thick bushes. As he parted the dense foliage, he came face to face with a massive wolf, its legs trapped painfully in a rugged snare. After frantic attempts to free itself, the wolf had given up and now lay on the ground, breathing heavily. It looked utterly exhausted, its eyes filled with despair. Shaken by the sight, Aaron wanted to help but hesitated as he moved closer. Sensing his presence, the wolf growled and snapped aggressively, tugging at its chains in a desperate effort to ward off what it saw as a potential threat. Unwilling to let the wolf harm itself further, Aaron carefully stepped back to reassess the situation. That's when he noticed something unexpected. The wolf was a female, her teeth swollen with milk, a clear sign that her pups, if still alive, were waiting for her somewhere. Realizing the pups wouldn't survive long without their mother, Aaron knew he had to act quickly. However, approaching the stressed and injured wolf was nearly impossible without worsening her distress. She was on the brink of death, bleeding heavily from a leg wound caused by the rusty trap, and would certainly not survive if left alone. Determined not to let it end this way, Aaron formulated a plan to save both the mother wolf and her pups. Every second was critical. Aaron gathered his courage, donned a pair of thick gloves for protection, and cautiously approached again, speaking softly to the wolf in an attempt to calm her. Gently touching the wolf's trapped paw, he was surprised when she didn't react. She was almost unconscious from the cold and loss of blood. Quickly, Aaron held her head gently with one hand while trying to press the release button of the trap with the other, but it was jammed, likely due to the wolf's desperate escape attempts. Without any time to waste, Aaron grabbed a nearby stone and forcefully struck the trap's mechanism several times. His persistence paid off, and the trap finally snapped open. The unconscious wolf could wake up at any moment and potentially attack him out of confusion and fear. For safety, Aaron used a soft rope from his pocket to loosely tie the wolf's mouth, ensuring she could still breathe easily but not bite. Realizing he couldn't carry her by himself, he fashioned a makeshift stretcher from nearby branches and his heavy coat. He then gently lifted the wolf onto the stretcher and began dragging her towards his cabin, which was a few hundred meters away. The journey back took almost an hour, and by the time he reached his cabin, he was exhausted but relieved. Once inside, he placed her by the fireplace, which was already stocked with logs. He quickly lit a fire, and as the house warmed up, he began treating her wounds. Using a first aid kit he kept for emergencies, he cleaned and dressed her wounds with great care, applying antiseptic to prevent infection. Aaron had medical training from his time in the military and knew exactly what to do. The wolf's leg was severely injured but fortunately not broken. He wrapped her leg tightly to prevent further injury. If he had waited any longer to free her, she would have likely lost the leg. Now, his focus was solely on helping her recover. As the wolf slowly began to show signs of recovery, Aaron and the wolf made eye contact for a second time. This time, her gaze was less wary and more resigned, as if she understood he was trying to help. After ensuring the mother wolf was stable, he left her resting comfortably in his home and set out to find her pups in the vast forest. With his background in the Canadian military and his extensive experience living in the woods, Aaron's survival and tracking skills were crucial. He took with him a small pack with supplies and a compass, determined to locate the den he suspected might be nestled in a rocky outcrop he had seen during previous hikes. Aaron searched extensively, navigating rugged terrain and using markers he had learned to recognize. Finally, he found a den that looked like a narrow hole hidden beneath an ancient fallen tree. As he approached the den, he heard faint whimpers coming from inside. Peeking inside, he saw the wolf pups huddled together, their small eyes wide with fear and curiosity. Aaron knew he needed to act carefully to not frighten them further. He lay down on the ground, making himself as small as possible, and softly called to the pups. His voice, filled with kindness and a hint of playfulness, slowly coaxed the pups out. The tiniest pup, braver than the rest, made the first move, stepping out tentatively and sniffing the air. Aaron stayed still, allowing the pup to approach him. Once the first pup ventured out, the others followed, their tails wagging cautiously. Aaron let out a sigh of relief and happiness as the pups gathered around him, nuzzling against his hands and face, seeking comfort. Knowing he couldn't carry all 4 pups by himself, Aaron used the large pockets of his heavy coat to gently place the pups inside. Each pup was secured and warm against his body. As he carefully made his way back to the cabin, upon returning, the mother wolf, hearing the muffled sounds of her pups, struggled to rise. Aaron quickly set the pups down on the floor, and they immediately ran to their mother. The reunion was touching, with the mother wolf licking her pups affectionately, her tail wagging weakly as she settled down with her pups cuddled around her. Over the next few weeks, Aaron took care of the wolf family, providing them with food and ensuring the mother wolf's recovery. He built a small enclosure for them in his yard, giving them space to move around while keeping them safe. One morning, Aaron went into the forest to collect wood. He had left his door open, allowing the wolf cubs to freely enter and exit. The scent of the cubs had attracted the pack, bringing them to Aaron's house where he had saved these cubs. When Aaron saw the other wolves, he froze and was very frightened. Encountering a large pack of wolves, including adults searching for their cubs in his yard, truly surprised him. The wolves, upon seeing Aaron, became uneasy. They showed their teeth and began to growl, ready to attack at any moment. Then, unexpectedly, one of the wolves jumped in front of Aaron and howled loudly. This was the female wolf Aaron had helped. Her howl made all the other wolves back off. Despite the heartwarming reunion, Aaron didn't underestimate the potential danger of the pack. He quickly retreated to his cabin, locking the door securely behind him. After taking a deep breath, he glanced out the window and saw the wolf pack gradually moving away. Though his heart was still racing, he felt an overwhelming sense of pride in what he had accomplished. He had saved the female wolf and her cubs, giving them a second chance at life. That night, as Aaron lay in bed, the significance of his actions resonated deeply within him. The howling of the wolves carried by the wind no longer filled him with fear but served as a reminder of his connection to nature. The next morning, he awoke to the serene silence of the wilderness. Stepping outside, he followed the tracks left by the female wolf and her cubs. A few hundred meters away, atop a hill, he finally spotted them. The female wolf and her cubs had returned to their natural habitat, and Aaron watched them from a distance. Once again, he was reminded of the importance of helping animals despite the challenges posed by wildlife and survival. Seeing them frolic freely in the depths of the forest made his sacrifice feel even more meaningful. What an incredible story! If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave a comment below. See you in the next video.